Welcome to the Pharmacy Down Under podcast, where we delve into the world of pharmacy, health and wellness. Tune in with our host Gus, and in each episode, we'll be your prescription for the latest trends, opinions and insights in the pharmacy world. Whether you're a healthcare professional, a curious consumer, or just someone who wants to stay informed about how pharmacy is shaping our lives, you're in the right place. Get ready to explore the fascinating intersection of science and medicine with us. This is Pharmacy Down Under, where we dispense knowledge and advice for aspiring pharmacists in Australia.
Alrighty, welcome to the Pharmacy Down Under podcast. Thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Gus, your friendly neighbourhood pharmacist, and I'm going to be your host for ongoing for the Pharmacy Down Under podcast episodes. Thanks for coming, thanks for joining, thanks for tuning in. Just want to introduce you all to the podcast in general, introduce you all to Pharmacy Down Under in general, in terms of what we're bringing to the table, what we're going to be doing, what kind of events and sort of activities and sort of content that's going to be released in the future. Now, I'll start off with just briefly introducing myself. My name is Gus. I've been a pharmacist for over 5 to 10 years at this point, to be honest. Lost track of the time. And I've been in the community for the vast majority of it. Being in the community pharmacy, I feel really allowed me to have a really hands-on approach in terms of, getting to connect with customers and patients and really seeing the full story in terms of their health outcomes, their health journey. So I do genuinely believe that I'm equipped in terms of dealing within the community pharmacy, or in terms of learning and thriving in the community pharmacy and making it your sort of career as satisfying and as sort of relishing as possible, trying to get the most out of your career based on my experiences. Now, in terms of the Pharmacy Down Under sort of podcast in particular, it's a bit of a branch away from the regular PDU content. It's something that's going to be very, very casual, very, very lax. Essentially, it's going to be more of a conversation with you. And hopefully we're going to get guests onto the show soon, just to have chats about, where pharmacy is going, what are our opinions about certain, controversial topics in pharmacy, whether it be, expanded scope of practice or pharmacy ownership or, pharmacy prescribing, etc. So the whole point of this podcast is just to, have that raw conversation, not heavily edited, not heavily sort of produced, just to keep it real with you guys, more or less. Based off that, just want to give you a summary of what today is going to be about. Today is more about just an introduction, just to get you familiar with, what Pharmacy Down Under is and what the purpose of Pharmacy Down Under is as a YouTube channel, as a newsletter, in terms of what it's there for and what is the purpose of it in terms of providing for the pharmacy community. So just to give you a bit of context and a bit of background as to why I've started Pharmacy Down Under. Well, think of it like this, a few years ago, or I'm not sure what kind of part of the journey you're in, but a few years ago, I was a pharmacy intern myself. I was going through, the hustle, the grind, working and studying and trying to manage to establish some sort of semblance of a social life. Now, it's difficult, I'll be honest, it really is. So it's not very usual for a pharmacy intern to have that balance in order, or it's very, very difficult for a pharmacist in general to have that balance in order. Now, usually the demands of work, whether it be longer hours, or it be if you're balancing community and hospital or industry, it's difficult. It really is, in terms of getting that time into study, getting that time in to connect with friends and family, finding time for yourself as well. I think it's really, really important that you have that support early on in your pharmacy career in order for you to make the most out of your shifts or make the most out of your experience in community or beyond. Now, in my personal story, my internship was very, very intense. I was working at a big box pharmacy and it was very demanding, long hours, lots of physical labor, very, very high traffic area. So time was of the essence, and balancing that with long hours and reaching the minimum hours before I could sit my exams and actually studying for those exams, and at the same time trying to sort of establish some sort of social life at the same time, it's difficult. It really, really is. So I think having that connection with a community, or having a community in general that you can rely on, is super important. Now, in theory, most all pharmacy interns should have a pharmacy preceptor as well, that's there as a guiding hand, as a sort of like a older sibling that can sort of look after them and make sure they've been taken care of. But to be honest with you, from my experience and the experience of many other pharmacy interns is that, as much as they would like to have that sort of one-on-one interaction with their preceptor, it just doesn't happen. Life gets in the way. They're busy. They're working on the business. They have their own family situation to take care of. It's not really reasonable to expect them to have 100% undivided attention with you at any given moment that you please. So I can understand that. It's not anyone's fault in particular. It's just the nature of the system itself. So because of that experience and because of that sort of dilemma that all of us have experienced at some stage in our internship and even during our actual pharmacy or pharmacist career, I decided to start this whole Pharmacy Down Under sort of community through the newsletter, where I'm releasing sort of weekly blog posts or newsletter posts, just touching on, the common pain points that a lot of pharmacists and pharmacy interns will be experiencing, whether it be like content struggles or, launching a flu vaccination clinic or establishing some sort of public health solution in your pharmacy, connecting with the community around you, trying to give you tips and tricks in terms of how to make the most out of the year as an intern or the 2 years as an intern. So I think it's really important that we have a thriving community here. We have different types of opinions, different types of pharmacists from different branches of pharmacy, really sort of connecting together in the one space. Now, hopefully the goal is through the YouTube channel, I do want to be releasing a lot more regular content in terms of actual, actionable pharmacist intern content, whether it be, breaking down the APC pharmacy written and oral exams, how to annotate the AMH to make the most out of the time in the exam, how to optimize study and balancing it with workloads and real life, getting in the way. And of course, talking about, the most up and coming news when it comes to pharmacy in general. So my intention really with the Pharmacy Down Under YouTube channel is to make it the center of the community, whereas the newsletter will be more of a personal, sort of individualized connection directly with you guys. And this podcast here is going to be more on the casual, sort of lighthearted side where, it's nothing too serious, nothing too structured. You're going to have guests coming in on and in and talking about their experiences and having a bit of a laugh and keeping on the lighthearted side. So that's ultimately the goal of this podcast in general, and ultimately the goal of the Pharmacy Down Under sort of banner in general. I really do want to sort of promote the idea of community, a safe space, a common area for all pharmacists, big and small, young and old, to really connect and find somewhere they can sort of discuss, chat, laugh, really find a place to bond and connect. Because I feel like after COVID especially, a lot of pharmacy students and a lot of the pharmacy interns really struggled in terms of establishing connections with, preceptors and other older pharmacists and more experienced chemists. And they have that sensation of, that almost that imposter syndrome where they feel that they're not enough or they're not adequate enough to really, be at the forefront of the pharmacy, to be at the forefront of service in general. So I think that's ultimately my intention. My intention is to sort of provide a safe space and a connection to the community in an online platform, to really allow all of us to sort of improve our game and to really sort of make the most of our careers and make the most out of our experiences in our day-to-day with our patients. Because ultimately, at the end of the day, that's what we're there for. We're there to make sure that our patients are being taken care of. And if we're not working at our best capacity, then we're really falling short for them. And at the end of the day, the patient will suffer ultimately over time. So I think that's the main intention when it comes to this whole sort of brand, more or less. Coming up in the future, I do want to get a lot of industry experts onto the podcast and get, pick their brains and dissect their thinking, from, pharmacist proprietors to, industry experts, pharmaceutical representatives, or it could be even university lecturers and faculty. That's my full intention. They are the leaders and the authority in the profession. They know the most and have the best insights when it comes to, where is pharmacy going? Is pharmacy sort of geared for going in the right direction? Are we ready for advancement? Are we ready for expanded scope of practice? What is the ultimate goal for a pharmacist come to 2024 and beyond? So that being said, though, we will also have plenty of guests that are either, close colleagues of mine or are sort of community pharmacists and hospital pharmacists sort of in the early career, or even pharmacy interns and students as well. They will come in here and it'll be a much more lighter-hearted approach and get their perspective on things in terms of, what they think pharmacy is and where they think pharmacy is going, and really sort of get their opinion as they are the next generation of pharmacists coming through. So I think their opinion is just as valuable for sure. So yeah, that's the main goal when it comes to this podcast here. Now, if you do want to be sort of into it, so to speak, or if you want to be involved in any capacity, please feel free, comment down below in the video, or if you want, inbox me on LinkedIn, or even better, subscribe to the newsletter as well, because you have a direct connection to the Pharmacy Down Under team. If you do have any questions, if you have any topic suggestions, or if you have any sort of feedback in general, positive and negative, because any feedback is welcome. I want to be able to make this the best community online possible, and even in real life. So if you guys want to, book a call with me, or if you want to meet up in real life and have a cup of coffee, feel free. Let me know. I'm here to help you guys out. And the pharmacy community is very small, so we're very tight knit, and we're all happy to help. But that's all I really wanted to get through to you guys today. It's nothing too intense, just more of an introduction in terms of, what you're getting yourself into, so to speak, or what we're gearing up to become. So like I said, subscribe today, like the posts, make sure you're sharing our content, get the word out there. We want as many like-minded pharmacists in on this as possible in order to make this the best online platform for pharmacists from 2024 and onwards, for sure. Because I see there's a lot of potential coming up in this next generation of pharmacists. I just believe that we just need a common community, like-minded community of, young, intelligent, creative, and really sort of fired up pharmacists to really kickstart the profession and push into the right direction. Because believe it or not, pharmacy is changing at a dramatic pace. And the next episode will delve a lot deeper into the future of pharmacy in particular. If you're not aware, there's a lot more legislative and regulatory changes in terms of medicine scheduling, in terms of pharmacists immunizing, pharmacy practice, pharmacy's expanded scope of practice. That's the most important thing. And I think it's the most tantalizing idea when it comes to defining or redefining the role of a pharmacist. So we'll definitely cover this in the next podcast episode. But just to wrap it up on a high note, I just want to let you know that, watch this space. This Pharmacy Down Under podcast will grow, hopefully, and become more frequent. And I really want to make sure that this becomes the best podcast when it comes to getting a pharmacy resource that's online, that's accessible, and that's free. So I'll never charge you for anything. It's all going to be a free, open source sort of community. So feel free to support it, spread the word, share the links, and let me know if you want to get involved. Thanks so much for tuning in. Like I said, like the video and podcast, subscribe to the newsletter in the links below, and of course, comment your feedback and let me know if you want to get involved. Have a great day, guys. Cheers.